Good afternoon and welcome to this Small Business Town Hall conversation. I'm glad that you're here with us, that you join us today for this conversation to talk about how are we doing, how are the small businesses in the state of Rhode Island, how are you holding on this time, and what else can we do to help you in give you support at this time. I just want to take a moment before we begin to acknowledge um, the horrible things that are happening right now in Ukraine. In I chose to have the background of the state of Rhode Island with the colors of the flag of Ukraine to show support for every Ukrainian living here in the state of Rhode Island, and also to the country that we're thinking about all of them, and we're praying for peace and for the strength of the people of Ukraine. So that's why I have this background today. But thank you for joining us in this conversation, as we do every other week. When I join the conversation with you, we have the information that is very important for the small business community. Today, we're going to have Director Mark Hayward from the Small Business Administration. He's going to tell us what's happening, what is happening from the federal government, what resources are available, and what are the things what deadlines should be important for us to keep in mind also. He's going to be here with that information. We're going to hear also from the Secretary of Commerce, Secretary Pryor. He's going to be here with us also. We're going to hear from the Director of the Department of Labor and Training, Director Weld is going to be with us also. And then we're going to talk about a small business, and we're going to have a special guest. We're going to have Jerry Bacali with us, and she's going to talk to us about her boutique. So, and as you know, I have this that I bought there, and I have other items which I may show you before the end of the time that we have here together. But let me just bring over Director Mark Hayward to hear from him about what's happening from the SBA. Director?
How are you, Governor? It's good to see you
Good.
again. And I'd like to associate myself with your remarks about the Ukrainian people and in Ukraine in general. We are all praying for them to remain strong. And our, it was really touching to drive in because, as you know, I come in very early in the morning, and there are a number of buildings outside of the State House that actually had the blue and yellow. Yes. It was very comforting, and I think the Ukrainian people should know that we're all praying for them and we're all supporting them.
We are.
You know, Governor, that I love statistics.
Yes.
And we just happen to, this one just happens to be on the first of the month. And what happens on the first of the month is we accumulate everything that we've done for the last 5 months during the fiscal year. But I have some very interesting statistics. We have two major programs, the 7A program, which you can do machinery and equipment and land and buildings, but it's predominantly a lending program through our participating lenders at the banks that focuses on working capital. And working capital, Governor, as you know it, and I talked to Governor McKee yesterday, it's working capital really puts people back to work because it allows you to expend those dollars to help your employees. So we have done 53 loans in the state of Rhode Island with 24 banks for $20,500,000. But more importantly, the 504 program is for land and buildings and machinery and equipment. And what this indicates to us, I call it the window to Wall Street for small business, but it indicates to us that the economy is getting much better, that people are going out, they're actually purchasing buildings, they're expanding their businesses, and we have actually approved 36 loans for which total resources of $45 million. So our total is $65,186,000. 90 loans in the state of Rhode Island over that 5-month period. Now, everybody said, well, that may not be a lot. But when you get at the end of the year and we're talking about a couple of $100 million that's being invested by our commercial sector, our banks and businesses here in the state of Rhode Island, that's really important. The other thing that I wanted to point out to you, it's community banks. So here is the top 5. Webster Bank, TD Bank, Navigant Credit Union, Bank Rhode Island, and Harbor One. So it kind of gives you an indication as to where a lot of these loans are coming from. And they're doing both 7A and 504, and that's really important. The last time that you and I had one of these reports, you had, I believe, the mayor of Warwick and the Warwick. So I gave you kind of the indication. Well, what's really interesting is that Cranston has pulled way out in front of Warwick, and
really,
and they have so far this year, they are number one. We've done 13 loans in the city of Cranston for nearly $12 million. Providence is second with 8 loans for $4 million, but Warwick is third, 7 loans for $5.7 million. So it kind of gives you an indication that there is a little bit of a competition there. And when I looked on the list, 32 of the 39 cities has at least one loan in it, which is really important. So, and we're going to continue. There's a lot of loans in process because we talk to banks all the time. Now, we went and we got some additional information as it relates to COVID. So EIDL has always been, and EIDL continues to be funded. We're still working with the Office of Disaster Assistance to get increases in a number of loans that we talk to people, Governor, on almost a daily basis, I must say. But we're at the point where 11,457 EIDL loans have been approved for the state of Rhode Island for $952 million. That's a significant sum because when we start to, it's almost $1 billion when we add in the $16 million for targeted advance, and then there's another $7 million on top of that for other advanced loans, and those were grants that were given to the small business community. We're about $1 trillion in the Rhode Island economy as a whole. It really does signal the commitment the federal government and SBA, this little agency that's kind of sitting out here, has to the small business community. We continue to work with the restaurants and small retail. And I've always said, Governor, that it's really important for people to use technical assistance. I want to deviate one little bit. February was Black History Month. Myself, along with the regional administrator, Mike Vlasic, and Senator Reed, we did an event with our partners and the Cape Verdean community in Pawtucket. We had about 45 people. Of that, 30 plus actually were small business owners. It was an excellent event. And I think what it really showed was there is a commitment of community to, getting things, watching what's happening and trying to resolve the issues. Having said that, this is Women's History Month. So the regional administrator will be back. We're actually going to do a roundtable with lenders, with our top lenders on both 504 and 7A. And we're going to visit Blount Boats, which is down in Warren, because they have significant contracts. And as a women-owned businesses, we want to make sure that we're highlighting the manufacturer side of women-owned businesses as well, because there's a lot of women who own manufacturing businesses. So that's kind of the report I have here. And Ben put up the email address, and we tell people all the time, you got a question, you got a complaint, we'll take it.
Thank you. Thank you for that information. And Ben is always paying attention and right on time, providing the links and the information that we need. So thank you, Ben. Thank you, Director, for this important information and for keeping us up to date.
Great.
And for joining us today. Really appreciate you being here today. So thank you so much, Director Hayward.
And we'll see you soon.
See you soon. So next, we're going to have the Secretary of Commerce. We're going to hear the latest about what's happening from Commerce. Secretary Stephen Pryor. Secretary, what's going on at Commerce?
Glad to be with you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you so much for hosting us as always. Lots of good activity. What I want to focus on is just 2 things that are relatively brief. Always want to come on with updates. One of them is on the Rhode Island Rebound Small Business Grant Program. We are pleased that we've had 3,300 applications for this purpose. So a very successful turnout in terms of applications. Really positive. We believe that we are oversubscribed, which is why, or fully subscribed in any case, which is why the program did end in accordance with its predetermined deadline. We expect for checks to start to go out to businesses as soon as next week. It won't be everyone because there are several things that have to occur before a check goes out. There are quality and there are integrity checks to make sure that everything is functioning well and that we don't have fraud. There's also, very importantly, the requirement from the feds that we are not allowed to waive, that businesses that do participate and that are to be recipients of checks go through the sam.gov process. So that is the process of registration with the federal government for all of their grants in effect under the American Rescue Plan, Lieutenant Governor.
Yep.
So we know many businesses are still working on your sam.gov registration. That's okay.
Yes.
That's okay. We just want you to get to the end of the process. So please reach out to us if you have any problems with that process, or if you're not sure if you're done. That will be a requirement for you to proceed and receive your check. Checks will be sent through the mail. It's a convenience for a lot of businesses, and also, quite frankly, it's another layer of checking that a legitimate business is receiving a check at its physical place of business. So it helps us on that front. So that's the update for now. Businesses that may have already applied and are in the process. Not everyone is getting a check next week, by no means. It'll be going out over weeks, plural, but it could start as soon as next week. There you have displayed on the page for everyone is the Commerce RI website, commerceri.com. And you always know, small businesses, you're welcome to call 521-HELP and get some assistance from a Rhode Island Commerce representative. The second thing that I want to express today, Lieutenant Governor, is that we are now moving on to offer some additional assistance beyond the up to $5,000 checks to impacted industries, certain categories of business that, in accordance with the Rhode Island Rebounds package passed by the General Assembly, are eligible potentially for more money. These businesses fall into a few categories. Group one, restaurants, those that did not receive the federal restaurant revitalization program, restaurants, event-related businesses and organizations, events professionals, valet operators associated with events and restaurants. So that's one category, restaurants and events in effect. Category two, hotels and travel. Hotels, travel agents, and tour operators, tour guides. The travel and hotel industry.
Yes.
And group three is arts and culture, because of course arts institutions have been so severely impacted as well.
Correct.
So that's restaurants and events, hotels and travel agents and operators, and that's arts and culture. For these three categories, over the coming weeks, plural, we will be introducing some new programs. And what I want to just say in advance of that is we'll be putting information out on when we're going to have our Facebook Live to explain the programs. We're going to be putting out the criteria for the programs. If your business is in one of those categories, stay tuned. Check out the commerceri.com website. It doesn't have anything on it yet. It will over the next couple of weeks. And the other thing I want to say is that these particular forms of assistance are for severely impacted businesses. We know so many businesses have been impacted. It's always very hard to draw any lines and to create any criteria. But the likely scenario is that a business that showed revenue loss for 2021 compared to the baseline year of 2019 at the amount of 35% or more loss will be the first businesses that are eligible. Significant losses, meaning 35% or more, in the three categories that I described, will, among other criteria, be the businesses that are eligible. So, Lieutenant Governor, I just want to put that out there so that people are aware that more is happening. And that programs will roll out now that we have the small business grant program, the initial one of up to $5,000, not behind us, but substantially underway with processing occurring for the applicant businesses. we are moving on to these other programs, and we'll have more to say in the coming days and weeks.
Thank you, Secretary. This is very important because we keep getting that question all the time. The entertainment industry, the hotel, in the valet services, they have suffered so much. So it's good to know that we have resources coming for them. So just the website, if you can make sure that your team send us the website so Ben can share that with.
Absolutely. It will link to commerceri.com, but it'll have a particular page, which is your point. So yes, absolutely, Lieutenant Governor, we'll send that along when we have that particular /web page address. But you can, if periodically check, business people, feel free to periodically check commerceri.com, and we will publicize extensively the launch of this program when it occurs.
Thank you. And Secretary, do you know who's commenting in this live right now? Tina.
Hey, our friend Tina.
You and me were with her last week and
Yes, we
participated on her podcast. It was great. And she's reminding us that actually today is International Wheelchair Day. So make sure that we recognize that day by making sure that our venues are accessible. And, Tina can help us. As she always says, she can roll through and let us know if we are accessible, yes or no. Okay.
She will literally roll through, and
right.
It's a blessing. So please accept her invitation.
Thanks. Thank you, Secretary. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor.
Thanks. Next, we're going to hear from Director Weldon. Director Weldon is going to tell us about what happened at DLT. What's the newest information from DLT, Director? I think you're muted, Director. Let's see. I still cannot hear you. Let's see.
Nope. Hey, Matt, we cannot hear you. You might want to just check your microphone option.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Why don't we go with Jerry in the meantime, and then we can.
How about now?
Oh,
that works.
Yes, that works. Yes. Welcome back.
Let's see. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So all the nice things I was saying about you, I'm going to have to say again.
Oh, thank you.
You were just talking to Secretary Pryor, and he said something about the valet industry. Here's something you don't know about Matt Weldon. I was a valet parker for a number of years in Boston.
Really?
And I'll tell you, it was a great job. I don't tell the governor, but it's like one of my favorite jobs I ever had.
We won't tell him.
Seriously, hospitality industry across, events industry, arts and culture, and all these things have been so impacted by this pandemic. Anything we can do to help. Here at DLT, things are kind of calming down. Unemployment and TDI are lower than they were in previous weeks. We're going to see some jobs numbers come out next month. I think they're going to be good. Benchmark numbers, which is when they go through and they all the jobs numbers are done by surveys. And then what happens is they go in and they get real data and they clean them up a little bit. What the benchmarks that were released today, they're on the website, show is that we ended last year with a lower unemployment rate than we thought. It was actually 4.5% in December. So when I talk about the good economic progress that we've made from May of last year forward, we went from 6% to 4.5% at the end of the year. That's a good thing. We added a lot of jobs. That last count, it was over 16,000. I'm not sure what the revisions say, but all things are getting better, which is great.
Good.
Today, my big focus is on, we have a budget hearing today, and we're going to talk a bit about ARPA money for workforce development. And when I say workforce development, I mean Real Jobs Rhode Island and our sister programs like Real Pathways and Real Skills for Youth. These are ways that we hear ideas from the community, industry and demand-driven workforce programs come to us and say, if you could fund it, we could do these great things and help people, get people on a pathway to good jobs, take people that already work for us and upskill them. We talked about manufacturing a couple minutes ago with Director Hayward. In manufacturing, there are a lot of career opportunities, but you need to stay on top of the trend. You need to keep up with technology, know how to use the equipment. It's all different now than I also used to work for a manufacturer years ago. Yes. Had a lot of jobs. My mother made sure I had a job in the time I could until forever. So, but the technology then was much different. You had machinists that worked on machines, and now it's computer driven. So we can make investments to help people keep up with the times and get good jobs. We've been doing that through the Real Jobs program since 2016. We're going to continue to do that. And the governor in his budget put in $40 million in ARPA money over the next 2.5 years, really. It's a significant investment. It's enhanced Real Jobs, we're calling it. That's what I'll be talking about today in front of the House Finance Committee. In addition to that, there's $30 million put aside in case we need it for the unemployment fund to make sure taxes don't go up next year. Right now, it doesn't look like they're going to, but you never know what happens. You know, and we have to wait and see in the fall, and that's when we do the calculation. And this money would prevent that from happening as long as it was within a $30 million window. So I'll be talking about both this afternoon. Glad that the microphone got cleared up. Happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you. I'm so glad I learned something new about you right now. So, and I promise I'm not going to tell the governor that you really like that job. So, because he doesn't want you to get some ideas and try to leave. Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
You're doing an excellent job right now
Thank you.
on the family run training. And we love working with you. So thank you for the information, Director.
Thank you.
Good seeing you. And good luck in your hearing today.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks. So next, we have a special guest. So today we're going to have a small business owner, and we're going to bring Geraldine King from Jerry's Bluff Boutique in Woonsocket. And look what I'm showing up right now.
Yay!
And I am mashing, you know, so I'm going to do like this.
You're bluffing. Okay, you're bluffing.
I'm bluffing right now. I'll tell you that I feel so excited to have you here with us today because we are just closing the Black History Month and the beginning of Women's Month. So it's just perfect to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us, and tell us about your business. Tell us about how's it going and how did you come about opening this boutique?
Well, Jerry's Bluff Boutique, I use fashion, art, and culture to empower my community and those out there with the products that I provide. I'm originally from Liberia, West Africa, and I realized that access to any of the items and the culture was very low. So I wanted to provide that platform where people can come in, learn about the culture, have those uncomfortable conversations, and learn a little bit of the prints and what they mean and how they empower you through whatever it is saying. Folks come in all the time and they are having these conversations with me and they are telling me their story, they're offloading, and it's just empowering for me and enlightening to see that folks are being encouraged through either letters or notes that are left from anonymous notes.
Oh my God, those are beautiful. I love those notes.
But it's been a journey that I didn't think about, and I just happened to be morphed into it during COVID. And I'm just taking it one day at a time, working through all of my challenges, working with my community, tapping into different resources that are out there to make sure that I succeed at what I'm doing. I do believe is impacting lives. It's providing a platform for those who are in need.
Yes.
So.
Now, thank you for doing that. And I know that you have some plans of what you would love to see happen in Woonsocket. Are you able to share a little bit of that? Or so just to make sure if there's anybody out there that would like to join you on this plans, and if you're able to share at least a little bit about it and how they can reach you and how people can be in contact with you. And while you're speaking, I'm going to make sure that I bluff a little bit more with the ones that I got. So go ahead.
So, because Jerry's Bluff Boutique have been well received within the community, I found, I love it.
Yeah.
It is,
Looks perfect.
you look very nice, very vibrant, and you're blending and intermingling all of the different fabrics. And that's just saying how it takes a village. It takes a community. It takes everything to empower our community, our state. So thank you for that. So because Jerry Bluff Boutique has been, well received, I've noticed that the culture, there's Woonsocket has in the northern part of the state has a very wide, diverse group of ethnicities. And learning some of the stories that are here and how they ended up in the northern part of the state was more interesting to me.
Mhm.
And I found that there's not a hub for folks to have these conversations, to celebrate their culture, celebrate their heritage, and just having a place where the diverse community can come together and celebrate their culture as an extension to Jerry's Bluff and Boutique is something that I'm looking to expand on. I think it's important to tell our stories, to archives our history. And I've been on Main Street for a year now, and the amount of people that have come through that door and telling me their stories and didn't even know that a place like this even existed. I didn't even know we had Indians. I didn't know we had Armenians. I didn't know all of these cultures were within that city.
Yes.
So providing a place that they can come in there, connecting with folks who look like them, who are, and how they ended up here in the first place. I came in as a refugee from Liberia at a very, very young age, and I stayed. So just being able to share those stories and keep the history alive and how we all ended up in the little tiny state of Rhode Island,
Right.
let alone the northern part of the state. So I know there are other multicultural centers out in the state, but I just wanted to encourage and open up one that will serve the community in the northern part of the state. And I think it's important.
It is. So, Jerry, I want to thank you for taking the initiative to start this kind of multicultural center in Woonsocket, so we can celebrate all the cultures and everyone that is represented in the northern part of the state. Thank you for what you're doing. And I want to ask the viewers that are watching this right now, if you are interested on joining Jerry in this project, make sure you reach out to her. How can they get in contact with you, Jerry?
Thank you. They can definitely go on to Jerry's Bluff and Boutique, which is bluffandboutique.com. I'm on Facebook, Jerry's Bluff and Boutique. I'm on Instagram, Jerry's Bluff and Boutique. I'm also on Twitter, Bluffing Boutique 1. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not the right website. It's bluffing.boutique.com.
Let me see if I can add it to the chat. At least the
Take the D out. Take the D out.
So
okay, awesome. Here we go. So come on down and join the Bluff Nation and thank you. Join the Bluff Nation, encouraging and empowering our community through fashion, art, and culture. I did get some questions. So I'll send them along to the different agencies. Folks did share some concerns, some questions, and looking for some resources on how they can have a successful small business in a variety of communities. And thank you for having me, and I really appreciate your support.
So I'm seeing some of the comments that Denise says that she also have one of this. So.
Yes.
Awesome. But thank you. You know what I love about your boutique? You have so many unique pieces. And I remember I saw this one. It's like, I cannot walk away. I cannot leave this place without it. So I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today and for the work that you're doing in Woonsocket. It's so important to have representation right there on Main Street in Woonsocket. And what you're doing is amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And that's your superpower bracelet you have on there too. Thank you. And thank you for all of the work that you're doing for our state.
My pleasure. It's been a pleasure to have you here. And please, this is the first one, but not the last time. I hope to see you again here soon.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining us. As you see, I'm bluffing right now. I got this at Jerry's. You have to see all the wonderful things that she has there. Again, thank you for joining us today for the small business town hall conversation. Chris Burris is going to be joining you next week. It's been a pleasure, and make sure that you keep connected every week, every Tuesday. We're going to have information here. The week when I'm not here, Chris Parisi is continue to have information available for our small business community. So thank you for joining us again. Have a great rest of the day.